Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, here is a stat that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. After the age of 30, adults lose between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass per decade. And after 40, that rate accelerates.
Right, and the clinical term for that is sarcopenia. It sounds like a condition you'd rather not have, and you'd be correct. The World Health Organization actually recognizes it as a significant global health concern.
And here's the thing, though. Most of us are not thinking about muscle loss in our 40s. We are thinking about cardio, maybe calories, definitely stress. Nobody hands you a brochure that says, hey, your muscle is quietly leaving the building.
Which is precisely why we're here today. Because the research on strength training after 40 is not just compelling, it is, frankly, a little urgent.
So let's just start with the basics. Because I think a lot of our listeners hear strength training and immediately picture someone grunting in a gym at 5 a.m. That is not the whole picture.
Not even close. Strength training, also called resistance training, is any activity where your muscles work against some form of resistance. That can be weights, resistance bands, body weight, even heavy gardening if we're being generous about it.
I appreciate that for all the gardeners listening. But let's define what we mean by after 40, because this isn't just a vanity conversation.
Not remotely. So the physiological reality is this. After 40, you're dealing with declining anabolic hormones, testosterone and estrogen both drop, and that accelerates muscle breakdown. The American College of Sports Medicine has been recommending resistance training for adults of all ages for years, but they've become increasingly specific about the over 40 population.
And the sandwich generation folks, the pre-retirees, the people juggling aging parents and their own health, this is exactly the group that keeps putting themselves last. I know because I do it too.
Guilty on some level myself, but here's what changes the calculus. It's not just about looking stronger. It is about function, bone density, metabolic rate, insulin sensitivity, cognitive health. All of these are meaningfully connected to muscle mass.
Wait, cognitive health? Tell me more about that, because that one surprised me.
Right, so this is genuinely exciting. A 2022 meta-analysis published in the Archives of Gerontology and Geriatrics found that resistance training was associated with significant improvements in cognitive function in older adults, including memory and executive function. The working theory involves increased blood flow and the production of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neuron growth.
So lifting things makes your brain work better. I feel like that should be the entire episode, honestly.
It rather should be. But let's talk bones, because this is the one that tends to get people's attention, especially women. Osteoporosis risk climbs sharply after 40, particularly post-menopause. The National Osteoporosis Foundation is quite clear. Resistance training is one of the most effective non-pharmaceutical ways to maintain and even build bone density.
And I want to say, because I know some of our listeners are in that 50 to 65 bracket, maybe thinking I've left it too late. The research does not support that idea. A study from the University of New South Wales, led by Dr. Maria Fiatarone Singh, showed meaningful strength and muscle gains in adults into their 90s.
Their 90s, in a nursing home to be precise. That study was published back in 1994 in the New England Journal of Medicine, and it still holds up as one of the most striking findings in exercise science.
Okay, so now let's talk about what actually works, because that's what people want to know. And if you're new to this, or you haven't done it in years, where do you even start?
The ACSM guidelines for adults over 40 recommend resistance training at least 2 days per week, targeting all major muscle groups. You don't need a gym membership, you need progressive overload, which just means gradually increasing the challenge over time.
Progressive overload. David, translate that for someone who has never set foot in a weight room.
Fair. It means you do not do the same thing every session forever. You add a little more resistance or a few more repetitions or reduce the rest time. The muscle needs a reason to adapt. Without that, you're just maintaining, which is fine, but you won't keep building.
Here's the thing, though. This is where I think a lot of people, myself included, have gone wrong. I did the same yoga routine for 2 years and wondered why nothing was changing. I was not challenging my muscles. I was just keeping them comfortable.
Yoga has genuine value, but you've hit on something important. Flexibility and mobility work and resistance training serve different purposes. You really do need both.
And for the time crunched, which is everyone listening, can this actually fit into a real week?
Research suggests 2 to 3 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes is sufficient for meaningful benefit. A 2019 paper in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that even a single weekly resistance session produced measurable strength gains, though 2 or 3 is clearly better.
That is so much more doable than people think. Okay, I want to bring up something real here, because there's friction in my head about this topic. I know the research, I believe the research, but I've tried to start strength training probably 4 times and stopped. And I don't think I'm alone in that.
You're definitely not, and I want to push back gently here, Emma, because I think there's a difference between starting and not having a plan versus starting with a structured approach. The dropout rates in general exercise programs are high, but they're notably lower when people have specific goals and, critically, some form of accountability or instruction.
So you're saying my 4 failed starts might have had a structural problem, not a willpower problem?
I would say almost certainly yes. The American Heart Association's own guidance emphasizes that beginners benefit enormously from working with a qualified trainer initially, even for just a few sessions to establish correct form. Because the other barrier people hit is injury, and that usually comes from loading movements the body isn't prepared for.
And that is a very real concern for people in midlife, right? Like, you can't just throw yourself at a barbell the way maybe a 25-year-old could.
Recovery time is longer, connective tissue needs more respect, and frankly, the cost of injury at 45 is higher than at 25. So starting conservatively and building patiently is not being timid, it is being intelligent.
Y'all, if you are finding this useful, and I think you are, please hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need this conversation. And honestly, this is the kind of conversation that could change someone's next decade.
Quite literally. Let's also address the people who are thinking, I have bad knees or I have back problems, and feel like this topic just isn't for them.
Yes, because I hear that a lot.
And the evidence actually runs counter to that instinct. A Cochrane review, which is about as rigorous as it gets in terms of research synthesis, found that resistance training significantly reduces chronic pain and improves function in people with knee osteoarthritis and lower back conditions. The muscles around a joint act as shock absorbers. Strengthening them is protective, not risky.
Though, and this feels important to say, if you do have a specific condition, start by talking to a physical therapist or your physician, not to get permission necessarily, but to get a smart starting point.
Absolutely. This is wellness guidance, not medical advice. Individual circumstances matter.
Okay, so let's bring this home practically. What does a beginner week actually look like?
Day 1, lower body focus, squats, lunges, glute bridges, body weight to start or light resistance. Day 2, upper body, rows, push variations, shoulder work. Day 3, if you add a third session, a full body circuit or a core focus, that's it. That is a complete resistance training program.
And I want to add, do not overlook the back. I spent years doing nothing for my back and it showed. Rows, deadlifts at some point, any pulling movement, your future self will thank you.
Right, and for those of us who are less naturally inclined toward the gym, I include myself in that category, finding something that has resistance built in helps. Pilates with resistance, rowing, even swimming against resistance. The form matters less than the consistency.
Okay, the one thing I want every listener to take away from today, if your schedule is crazy, if you feel overwhelmed by this topic, just start with 2 days. 2 sessions a week, 30 minutes, body weight only if you need to. The research is clear. That is enough to begin turning the tide.
And if I may add the dry data point to close, a study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that muscle strength is one of the strongest predictors of all-cause mortality in midlife adults. Stronger people simply live longer and live better. That's not a wellness trend, that is a biological reality.
Y'all, that's our show. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Take care of your muscles. They are working for you every single day.
Start small, stay consistent. The returns compound rather nicely.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization, without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.